Jagudev, today we are honored to have a distinguished panel of experts from various fields: art of living, Vedic Sansthan, Upanayam teachers, and food experts and health professionals. Our discussion will focus on a powerful verse from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 24, known as the Brahmarpanam Shloka. This verse beautifully encapsulates the unity of the divine in the act of offering. Let's dive into its significance and how it connects to our understanding of food, purity, and spiritual practice. The verse is Brahmarpanam Brahma Haviha ब्रह्मगणो ब्रह्मानाहुतं ब्रह्मैव तेन गन्तव्यं brahmakarma samadhinana. This translates to the act of offering is Brahman, the oblation is Brahman, the fire into which the offering is made is Brahman, and the one who offers is Brahman. Such a person who abides in Brahman indeed gains Brahman. To start with, can you explain the deep spiritual meaning of this shloka? And what does it teach us about the relationship between Brahman and our actions? This shloka beautifully conveys the principle of non duality or Advaita. It tells us that everything, whether it's the act of offering, the oblation, the fire, or even the one performing the act, is Brahman, the supreme consciousness. There is no separation between the doer, the act, and the divine. This verse highlights the concept that in every action we can experience the divine if we approach it with a pure and mindful heart. By seeing everything as a manifestation of Brahman, we transcend duality and realize that we are not separate from the world around us. This understanding transforms even mundane tasks like eating into sacred acts of worship. Speaking of eating, how does this understanding translate to the practice of offering food to God before meals, especially in our tradition of Annapurna and the concept of prasada? In our tradition, the act of offering food to God before eating is an essential part of ensuring its purity, both spiritually and physically. The idea behind offering food to God is that it purifies the food of any negative energies or impurities. The verse we are discussing connects beautifully to this tradition. It teaches that food, like any offering in a yajna or sacred ritual, is Brahman itself. When we offer food with reference and chant the prayer, it is no longer just food, it becomes prasada, a consecrated offering that is spiritually charged. This practice cleanses the three impurities associated with food: the cleanliness of the vessel, the purity of the ingredients, and the quality of the cooking process. It's not just about the physical cleanliness of the food, it's also about the purity of thought and intention of the person preparing it. Since we can't always control these factors, the prayer is a way to invite purity into our food, into ourselves. So the offering of food becomes an act of aligning oneself with the divine. But from a health perspective, can the practice of offering food and being mindful about what we eat have any impact on our physical health? Yes, there is a direct connection between our spiritual practices and our health. When we offer food before eating, we engage in a practice of gratitude, mindfulness, and intention. This creates a positive atmosphere around food, which enhances its nutritional value and promotes better digestion. In Ayurveda, it's said that food is not just a physical substance, it carries the energy of the person who prepares it. So, when food is prepared with love, care, and reverence, it becomes more nourishing, not just for the body, but for the mind and soul as well. By chanting a prayer or offering it with gratitude, we align our energy with the food and create harmony between the mind, body, and spirit. Moreover, mindfulness during eating activates the parasympathetic nervous system, helping digestion and reducing stress. In today's fast paced world, this kind of conscious eating has become increasingly important for maintaining a good health. That's a very interesting connection between spirituality and health. How does the concept of Brahmarpanam help us cultivate a more mindful, conscious lifestyle, especially when it comes to the food we consume? The concept of Brahmarpanam emphasizes that every action, whether it is preparing food or eating, is an offering to the divine. This shift in perspective changes how we approach food. Instead of seeing it as a mere physical necessity, we begin to see it as a divine blessing. In our busy lives, we often eat on the go without much thought, but when we approach food as sacred, we cultivate a sense of reverence. This mindfulness in preparing and consuming food leads to healthier choices and a greater sense of gratitude for the nourishment we receive. Sattvic food, which is pure, simple, and nourishing, plays a key role here. Such food is aligned with the principles of harmony, balance, and purity. When we consume sattvic food with the intention of offering it to the divine, we create an environment for physical, mental, and spiritual well being. How can we introduce these practices to children and the younger generation, especially in the context of modern life where eating habits are often hurried and disconnected? It's important to make these practices relatable and enjoyable for the younger generation. One of the simplest ways to introduce them to this tradition is by involving them in the preparation and offering process. Children can be taught to chant the prayer before meals, or even help in offering the food to the divine. As we teach them significance of food as a sacred offering, they begin to understand the value of mindfulness in their daily lives. By associating food with gratitude and reverence, we instill positive habits and foster a deeper connection to their food and to the divine. It becomes a practice that stays with them, creating a foundation for a more balanced and conscious lifestyle. Finally, can the practice of seeing every action as an offering to the divine, as taught in this shloka, extend beyond eating and impact other aspects of our daily lives? Absolutely, the essence of this shloka is not limited to food. It extends to the every aspect of life, whether it's work, relationships, or even the simplest actions like walking or breathing. When we perform every task as an offering to the divine, it transforms our entire experience. This approach encourages us to be more present, mindful, and compassionate in all that we do. It aligns our actions with a higher purpose, helping us to move through life with awareness and gratitude. By seeing Brahman in every action, we create a life that is more meaningful and harmonious both within and with the world around us. Thank you all for your profound insights. Today's discussion has beautifully illustrated how the Brahmarpanam Shloka offers a holistic approach to life, connecting food, spirituality, health, and mindful living. By practicing these teachings, we can nurture our bodies, minds, and spirits, creating a life of balance, peace, and reverence. Thank you for having us. May we all live with greater awareness and gratitude, seeing the divine in every moment. Jai Gurudev. Jai Gurudev, today we have a panel of experts from Art of Living, Vedic Dharma Sansthan, and renowned teachers and practitioners from the world of Upanayanam, food experts, and spiritual doctors to help us better understand the meaning and significance of the following verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Brahmarpanam Brahma Haviha Brahmano Brahmana Hutam Brahmaeva Ten Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. This verse speaks of the sacredness of offerings and how everything in the universe, including the act of offering food, is intrinsically connected and linked to Brahman, the ultimate reality. We will explore its significance, especially in relation to food rituals and how it relates to the purity of the mind and body. To start, could you explain the core idea behind this verse and how it relates to the idea of Brahman in our daily life? This verse from the Bhagavad Gita 4.24 beautifully illustrates the concept of oneness. Brahman in this context is not just a remote abstract idea, it is the essence of everything around us, including ourselves, the offering, the oblation or haviha, the fire agno, and even the one who offers, a practitioner, are all fundamentally Brahman. There is no separation. The phrase Brahmarpanam Brahma Haviha signifies that when we offer something, whether it's food, a prayer, or an act of service, our offering itself is Brahman and it is being offered into the fire of Brahman. This teaches us that in any sacred action, the offering, the process, and the purpose all converge into the divine essence. Yes, exactly. Brahman represents the absolute reality, the cosmic power that pervades everything. According to our Vedic traditions, everything in this universe, whether physical or metaphysical, is a manifestation of Brahman. This shloka asks us to look at our daily actions, particularly offering food as a sacred practice. So, when we offer food to God, how does that connect with this verse? In our daily life, food is one of the most significant things we consume. The Bhagavad Gita says food that is eaten as a form of sacrifice, meaning that the very act of eating should be viewed as an offering to the divine. In fact, the process of offering food to God before consumption is an ancient practice aimed at purifying the food. Food often carries impurities, physical impurities from the process of cooking, and psychological impurities from the intentions of the person cooking or preparing it. Offering it to God as prasad cleanses these three impurities: the cleanliness of the vessel, the ingredients, and the process of cooking itself. When we do this with devotion and mindfulness, the food becomes pure and it nourishes not just the body but the mind and soul as well. So, how does this connect with the purity of the mind? And how does offering food to God help purify the mind? When we offer food to God, we are consciously acknowledging that everything, including the food, belongs to Brahman. This brings us to a sattvic, pure state of mind. The intention behind the offering is what makes it sacred. Our ancestors believed that offering food with the right intention purifies not just and not only the food, but also the person consuming it in a practical sense. If we offer food to God with love, gratitude, and mindfulness, the mind also becomes calm and focused. It's a way to cultivate connection with the divine presence in everything, even in something as mundane as eating. So, in essence, this practice is not just a ritual but a method of spiritual discipline that helps integrate divine consciousness into our daily lives. Yes, it's a powerful spiritual discipline. When we live with this awareness, everything becomes an offering, whether it's our work, our speech, or our food. This verse is a reminder that every action we take can be sacred. It brings a deeper meaning to our daily rituals, making us more conscious of the divine that pervades everything. The Gita teaches us that when we act in this way, with the full awareness and surrender to Brahman, we are no longer separate from the divine. Our life becomes an offering, and through that offering, we move closer to the ultimate truth of Brahman. Could you elaborate on the connection between Brahma Karma Samadhina and how it applies to our day to day life? Brahma Karma refers to actions that are aligned with the divine. In essence, it's about doing our duties, whether they are related to work, family, or personal development, with the awareness that we are offering those actions to Brahman. Samadhina refers to being absorbed or meditative in the process, meaning that we perform our duties with focus, devotion, and in a state of mindfulness. For example, when we prepare food, it's not just a mechanical task, it becomes an act of devotion. When we perform it with the consciousness that everything we do is a part of the divine order, in this way, every action can be a form of worship. So it's about the intention and the presence of mind in our actions, precisely. Whether it's cooking, working, or even offering food, it's about shifting our perspective. If we approach everything with this understanding that what we are offering is to the divine, the entire experience becomes spiritual. This is how Brahma Karma works. It's the action performed with the right consciousness that leads us to Brahman. Finally, how can we integrate these teachings into our everyday lives? The key is to start with mindfulness, begin with simple actions like offering food with gratitude, taking a moment to acknowledge the divinity in everything around us, and slowly making every task an offering over time. As we cultivate this mindset, we start experiencing more peace and connection with the divine presence in everything. The practice of offering, particularly food, becomes a gateway to spiritual growth. It teaches us that humility, reverence, and the importance of purity in both body and mind. Thank you all for your insights. This discussion has certainly shed light on the profound depth of this verse and its relevance in our daily lives. It's clear that when we align our actions with the divine, everything becomes an offering and we are drawn closer to the highest truth, the Brahman Jagudev. Jagudev, today we are joined by a distinguished group of experts from the Art of Living Vedic Dharma Sansthan, Upanayam teachers, doctors, and food experts to discuss the profound wisdom embedded in the Bhagavad Gita verse Brahmarpadam Brahma Haviha Brahma Gai Grau Brahmada Hutam Brahmayavitain Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. This verse speaks to the sacred nature of offerings and the oneness of all elements in spiritual rituals, especially focusing on food as an offering. It teaches us that the food we consume is not just sustenance for the body, but a part of the divine cycle. We aim to delve into the meaning of this verse, its relevance in our daily life, and how the practice of offering food to God purifies both the food and our mind. To begin, could you explain what this word signifies and its practical application in our lives? Yes, this verse from chapter 20, chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita is a beautiful expression of the oneness of all aspects of creation. It reveals that the offering Brahmarpanam and the oblation of Brahma Haviya, the fire Brahmagno, and the one offering the devotee are all fundamentally Brahman. The verse shows that there is no separation between the offering process, and the one offering. They are all the same ultimate reality of Brahman. The practical application is that every act of offering, whether it's food, prayer, or service, should be viewed as an offering to the divine. When we perform any ritual or action with this understanding, we align ourselves with the divine essence that permeates everything. Can you elaborate on the role of food in this verse and its connection with the divine? The verse ties in beautifully with the idea of food as both an offering and a purifier. In our traditions, food is not just sustenance, it is considered sacred. When we offer food to God, it is a way of acknowledging that everything, including the food we eat, is a gift from the divine. Food is an integral part of life, and by offering it, we purify it from any negative or impure energy. As mentioned in the verse, the food, the act of offering, the fire, and the offering person are all connected to Brahman. In this way, food becomes more than just something we consume. It transforms into prasad or consecrated food, nourishing both body and soul. Could you expand on the idea of offering food and its significance in purifying both the food and the mind? The offering of food is a deeply spiritual act in our culture. Before partaking in food, it is essential to purify it both physically and mentally. As the word suggests, food that is offered to God becomes sacred. In essence, when we offer food, we are removing any potential impurities that could exist in the food, the cooking process, or the environment where the food is prepared. There are three main impurities we address when offering food: the cleanliness of the vessel, the cleanliness of the food ingredients, and the mental state of the cook. We cannot always control the conditions under which the food is prepared, but by offering it with the right intention, we remove any negative or impure energy that might be present. This pure process purifies both the food and the mind of the one consuming it. When we offer food with love and gratitude, it creates a mental purity that aligns with the sattvic state of mind. It enhances our spiritual well being and allows us to experience the divine presence in every bite. So, in a sense, food becomes a spiritual offering, and its consumption is also a form of devotion. Absolutely. This is the beauty of this teaching. Food is not just a material object, it's a vehicle for experiencing the divine. By offering it before eating, we sanctify it. The act of offering turns our mundane task into something sacred. We recognize the divine essence in food, and by consuming it with awareness that it is prasad, we elevate our consciousness. So, how does this connect with the practice of Brahma Karma, the action performed with devotion, and the concept of Samadhi? Brahmakarma refers to any action performed with the awareness that it is being offered to the divine. In the context of food, this means preparing and eating food as an offering to Brahman. Every act, no matter how simple, can become sacred if done with the right intention and devotion. Samadhina, or means being absorbed or focused in the context of offering food. It refers to performing the act with full mindfulness and devotion. It's about being present in the moment without distractions and fully immersed in the act of offering, whether it's cooking, eating, or any other action. When done with this focused devotion, it leads to a deeper connection with the divine and a purer state of mind. So every action, including eating, can be a form of spiritual practice. Yes, and this is one of the core teachings of this verse. It's not about separating our spiritual life from our daily practices. Instead, it's about seeing everything, whether it's eating, working, or interacting with others, as an opportunity to connect with the divine. The verse teaches us that when we act with the awareness of Brahman in everything we do, we are performing Brahma Karma, actions that lead us closer to the ultimate reality. How can we integrate this understanding into our daily lives and actions? It begins with mindfulness. In simple terms, we can start by being conscious of our actions. Before eating, take a moment to offer gratitude for the food, acknowledging that it is a divine gift. During the preparation of food, we can offer it mentally to God, setting the intention that it is not just food but a sacred offering. In our daily routines, no matter how mundane the task, we can infuse it with the consciousness of offering it to the divine. The practice of Brahma Karma can help transform even the most ordinary actions into acts of devotion. Thank you all for your valuable insights. This conversation has not only deepened our understanding of this beautiful verse, but has also shown us how every action, no matter how simple, can be a means to connect with the divine and purify our minds and hearts. The practice of offering food is a powerful example of how we can integrate spirituality into every aspect of our lives. Say good day.